Hello, Loveland. I'm Mike Meldon, and this is your Loveland Weekly Podcast, brought to you by Gina Dubell-Smith, eXp Realty, and Stone Pillar Farm. Today, we're going to learn about two fun and interesting tours happening this weekend in Loveland and the surrounding area. The first one we'll briefly hear about is the 4th annual Art Gallery Crawl, presented by the Art League of Loveland. And then we will hear from JoAnne Allen. Now, JoAnne, I met with her last week, is a phenomenal lady. And she is a mover and shaker when it comes to gardens and native plants in the area. JoAnne is going to tell us how she got interested in gardening and then honed in her skills, knowledge, and engagement after retiring from the corporate world. She and I then discuss a native garden tour that will be put on by the Cincinnati Nature Center, a tour that she has been in charge of over the last few years. So there's a lot of great things going on this weekend. So sit back and learn about these two great tours right now. I hope you enjoy. Today is June 18th, 2024.
All right, so my name is Veronique Hammonds. I am the owner of Gallery Veronique at Harpers Point. I am on the board of the Art League of Loveland, and the Art League of Loveland is the non-profit organization creating this event that we're having on Saturday.
Awesome. Can you tell me, what is the event?
The event is the Art Gallery Crawl. It's a 4th one, so that's the Loveland Art Gallery Crawl. It's happening on June 22nd from 4 to 9. And what it is really Loveland is transforming itself into a bunch of art galleries. So there will be real galleries opening themselves for artists, but also other venues like the furniture store curated is hosting some artists, Hometown Cafes or hosting some artists. So other venues are going to be hosting artists to make it more of an event that is citywide.
So how does one attend? Do you just show up? Do you need tickets? How does one go about it?
It's definitely showing up. No need for tickets. Wherever you go, as soon as you enter a venue, and there will be a sign in the lawn, pretty much with a sign saying venue hosting artist. As soon as you enter a venue, you will be receiving a map. On this map will be all the other venues. So you know exactly where you're going. You will have a list of artists that are participating also. So if you're looking for a particular artist, you can double-cross your reference and find it. And the more venues you visit, the more chance you have to win a prize at this raffle at the end. And each venue will be punching a card. And then the more punch card you have, the more chances of that you will be able to be on the list of a drawing for a $250 gift certificate, really, because we want you to use it to buy art from an artist.
That's phenomenal. And you said, what time does it start?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. and it goes till
9 p.m.
And how many different venues?
There's 14 different venues.
14. Nice. Okay. Anything else that people need to know?
It's going to be hot. We're going to try to have some water to kind of help people stay hydrated, but just be careful. Make sure you enter venues. You get a chance to get cooled down. Also, it's once a year, so don't pass this opportunity to support your local artist, to get a chance to see something different that you wouldn't see that from regular galleries in town. And so it's a once a year opportunity. So that's what's fun.
And if you have an artist out there listening and they want to be a part of it maybe next year, how do they go about that?
Yes, we have a website. So it's theartleagueofloveland.org. And they can go on there. There's a form they can fill in to become a member or to apply for the art gallery crawl for next year.
Hello, Loveland. It's Emily Barlow, your local publisher of Loveland Lifestyle Magazine. It's a great time of year. So many amazing things are happening in Loveland. It's warm, it's sunny, and there's really no better place to be. And we at Loveland Lifestyle love covering all of the happenings. In addition to any new businesses opening, awesome new ventures that people are focusing on. We love covering everything Loveland, and we love partnering with new businesses. So if you're a new business and you've been thinking about working with Loveland Lifestyle, or maybe you're someone who would love to get a copy, but it's not delivered directly to your door, you can always reach out to us through our website, citylifestyle.com/Loveland. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk on your podcast today, Mike. My name is JoAnne Allen, and I am a very, very, very active gardener. I've always been a gardener, and I've always felt a deep connection with the earth when I was in the garden. My mother was actually an only child who grew up on a self-sustaining farm in Pennsylvania. And so I've always thought that my gardening was in my DNA from my grandparents, my ancestors, and definitely my mother. During a 40-year business career, I was able to often manage my stress level by being in the garden. Sometimes I'd come home with my hair on fire and I'd walk around the yard and look at the plants, try to ignore the weeds, and just really feel at peace. So that's something that's always been part of me. I started my second act after I retired about 9 years ago, and it all began by going through the Master Gardener program. The Master Gardener program is a national program that started in the 70s, and it designs volunteers by county within a state who are research-based and not just doing things because mom did them. And so that was a really good foundation for me to start my second act and learn about how to really be more research-based with the things that I did within the garden. Now I'm absolutely obsessed with native plants. I will talk to anybody and everybody who wants to talk about native plants anytime, day or night. I love the way there are so many things in our world that we can do that will help conservation, restoration, anything that we can do as individuals to help our world. And so I feel very honored that ecological conservation is something that I can do to help give back. My role at Cincinnati Nature Center and many of the other nonprofits in conservation that I'm involved in this region are incredibly meaningful and fulfilling for me. I am a volunteer. Oftentimes people will mistake that they think I'm a staff person, but I'm definitely just a volunteer. And when I say just, I think I make that up with the passion that I bring and the attitude that I have when I'm talking to people in the nonprofit world. I was initially, after graduating from the Master Gardener program, involved in labor. And that was something that I very much enjoyed, but then age started catching up with me. So now I'm doing things that really allow me to leverage my background, my business background. And I'm finding that nonprofits in the region in conservation really like to leverage those experiences. And so it's something that I learned to embrace because when I was up against the scientists in this community, I often felt intimidated, but the people that I worked with were just so embracing of my passion and started to let me tag along and deal with the 100,000 questions that I would ask. And so now I just really moved from working physically at Spring Grove, Boyer Farm, and Gorman Heritage Farm to where now I'm involved with strategic initiatives, programs, and have always been watching you, Mike, because I've watched Love Our Land from its birth and am so happy to have an opportunity to work with you more because I think we can really do some cool things in this region.
Definitely.
So the programs it's just so interesting as I work in the communities and I kind of troll around looking for ways that I hate to say make it a win-win, but that's what's happening.
Sure.
And so I've done things like I'm the volunteer coordinator. I'm the volunteer coordinator at Boyer Farm. I helped Cincinnati Nature Center develop a Native Plant 101 course that was a really cool collaboration between the staff at the staff at Cincinnati Nature Center, some practicing scientists. There was someone who was very good with the actual practical aspects of trying to put something like that together. And then I came in on the side of what do residential gardens really, how do they think? What do they need? So that was a really fun project that I worked on. We did at Gorman Heritage Farm, some of us, and we call some graduates of the Master Gardener program, our little group, we call each other Dirt Sisters. And so some of our Dirt Sisters and I put together a program on a woodland that we developed at Gorman. And so it was really fun for us to learn about the 4 levels of a forest.
Yep.
Have a we really were focused on families for that particular program. And so we had a component for the little kids and something for the adults. So that was a really fun project that I worked on. I've done some native plant walks where I've led those at Cincinnati Nature Center. Those were fun because it gets you out when it's springtime and you can see all the spring ephemerals. One of those was a total bust because we had straight line wind, snow, and it was like 10. but you really know who the hardy horticulturalists are when they get out there in those kinds of conditions. We also at Cincinnati Nature Center, there's one of the leadership at Cincinnati Nature Center. Her name's Connie O'Connor. She's been at CNC for over 30 years,
She's great.
or almost 30 years. And she's developing a program called the Common Good. And that is really focused on creating community. And so it's been really, really fun as we spoke about maybe expanding Loveland's reach for Love Our Land. It's just really fun to kind of focus on a community to help them expand and appreciate the importance of native plants. I know we talked about some initiatives that you had, and then you thought you were making progress, and I'm putting words in your mouth.
No, you're right.
And then some of the people that were making planting decisions for the area that you were working on planted invasives.
Yep.
So I tend to like to overcome those obstacles and be patient and meet people where they are, because I think that's very important.
Yep.
So the garden tour.
Yeah, let's hear. So you are the chair for that, correct?
I am the chair. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
The Cincinnati Nature Center garden tour, called Noteworthy Natives, started in 2019. And the gentleman who started that was an employee at Cincinnati Nature Center, who's actually now at the zoo, which is really cool. And so he had successfully launched a garden tour when he lived in Pennsylvania. And I think it actually became the largest fundraiser for that particular nonprofit. So I went on that tour in 19, and I was just starting to figure out that I had a way to leverage my business experience for horticulture. And I was just all jazzed. So I got on the Cincinnati Nature Center volunteer portal to find out what I could do to volunteer for that event, that fundraiser. There wasn't anything available. And so I figured out who this guy was. I emailed him, we met, and I told him my story. And he looked at me and said, well, do you want to be the one to find the gardens? Which is right up my alley, because business development, networking, finding those diamonds in the rough is what I can do in my sleep. So it was kind of my first real way to understand and see how I could blend my passion for horticulture and native plants with my business background. So they made me the chair that second year because I found all these gardens and wound people up, and it was just an absolute blast to do that. And so this year on June 22nd from 9 to 5 will be our 6th tour. And so it's been incredibly fun to watch this community grow. To the point now we have, and we always cut it off every year at 500 guests who self-drive from garden to garden to visit these gardens that have varying degrees of native plant inclusion. We're going to have a surprise this year. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to be an enhancement to the tour. And so it's just so much fun to, like I was at the Cincinnati Nature Center, their little, where they sell books and plants, and it's their place to have physical things that remind people of conservation. And the lady at the cash register said to me, she looked at me and she goes, "You're involved with the tour, right?" And I said, "Yes." And I didn't know this woman at all. And she said, "What do you have in store for us next year?" So it's that buzz that we create. And so this year we're going to have 9 gardens, north in Loveland to south in North Avondale. And the gardens it's so hard for me not to say, and this one's my favorite, because they're all my favorite. But these gardens, especially in Loveland, are just those 3, I think, really demonstrate the passion and the soul that a gardener can create on their land. And that's something that we really like to highlight, because one of the things I ask people when I'm looking at their garden first, I say, "Tell me what your garden story is." And then I say, "What's really the soul of your garden?" And every gardener that I meet with can answer those questions very easily, because they have that passion, they have that spirit, they have that commitment. It's a really special thing. So I don't want to give out too much information, but there's one garden in particular in Loveland where we're going to have, and I'll put this out there, a pop-up native plant sale in his driveway.
Great.
So that's going to be really cool. That's that's going to help augment the Cincinnati Nature Center propagation and native plant sales initiative. So we're going to have some really cool plants to buy at one of the Loveland gardens. And then we have one in Blue Ash that has actually been native gardened since the late 80s. That's the longest residential native-oriented garden I've found, and I've seen hundreds of gardens around this region. She might do some really cool things because she's also an artist, and she's going to, I hope, display some of the things that she did where she's incorporated native insects and plants and all sorts of real, tangible native objects into art. And then if the timing's right, she might actually put some cocoons out of some either, well, obviously frogs aren't in cocoons, but she's going to try to hatch some cocoons during the tour.
Wow.
And then maybe release some ladybugs. So that one's going to be really cool because it's just got such a depth of history. And then we have 3 in North Avondale. And those, I would say, for the most part, are early adopters and natives. And so we actually rank the gardens by a coneflower ranking 1 to 5 to show if there are 5 abundantly using natives or 1 maybe just starting. With the tour, we really want to embrace, again, people where they are and demonstrate how for years and years and years and years, the ornamental plants are really only what gardeners thought that they could plant in their gardens. And so we want to have huge diversity demonstrated in the gardens that we offer, both from percentage of natives to the economic diversity. We've had a condo in the tour to show how people can really embrace natives with pots. So we're just really trying to appease and attract and inspire a broad base of people so that nobody's turned off by going to a garden. So, and then
Yeah.
there's two more in Indian Hill,
Oh, nice.
and one of those, she's participating in the tour this year because her late husband created her garden.
Oh, well.
And he passed away some years ago, and so she wants to share his memory
That's
with
neat.
opening her garden for people. She has over 80 different tree varieties in her garden. And then, have you ever heard of the tree geeks?
I have. Yes. I
Yes.
think Doug had done
Scott
something with
Borderline.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. So Scott Borderline, who is in charge of botanical outreach for the zoo, he created this group, and they call themselves the Tree Geeks.
I love it.
And so some of the geeks are going to be at that garden to talk about the trees.
Nice.
So we just, the day of the tour is an absolute party. And so people just are smiling, and some of the gardeners will share bottled water, or sometimes they even uncork bottles of champagne or wine. So I just never know what the gardeners are going to do to make it fun. I know that this year in one of the gardens, the gardener told me that their grandchildren are going to have a lemonade stand. So we're always really encouraging and creating cool things to make this not just a way for people to be inspired about natives, but to have a good time. So people can get their tickets, and I believe there are still a few left. We always have to cut it off, which disappoints some people. So I encourage people to get their tickets as soon as they can. And all you have to do is get on the Cincinnati Nature Center website, which is cincynature.org. So that's CINCY nature.org. And if you go into their things to do section, you'll find Noteworthy Natives Garden Tour, I think, prominently displayed.
Looking ahead in Loveland. Just to reiterate, the Loveland Art Crawl is Saturday, June 22nd from 4 to 9 p.m. all throughout Loveland. No need to get a ticket, just stop on in. And the Cincinnati Nature Center's garden tour, Noteworthy Natives, is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and there are a limited number of tickets still available. So make sure you grab them today from their website. And if you have any events that you would like me to mention here on the podcast, please reach out at lovelandweekly@gmail.com. We have something truly special here in Loveland. Thank you for listening, and have a great week. This episode was produced and engineered by Mike Meldon right here in Loveland. And please note that the opinions expressed in the podcast do not necessarily represent the views of our sponsors or organization.